It is good to be live in a VO's journey. My name is Anthony Pica, and this show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. Happy Friday! I suppose today is Black Friday. I don't know if you're out shopping or you have a significant other out shopping, or just that you're ignoring it. You can't stand Black Friday. Either way, this is definitely a day where people spend a lot of money. So anyways, I thought it would be a good idea to come on in today's show and talk about a voice acting tip that has served me tremendously and has just helped grow my business exponentially. I think that we talk so much about the business side of what we do, and that's extremely important. But of course, when the rubber meets the road, it is one of those things where we have to be able to put up or shut up. So with that being said, our acting is very, very, very important, right? Hey, you guys, John, Jim, thank you for being here. Rich, good to have you. We're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram. So I find that especially when you're just starting out or you're new at voiceover or you're trying to up your game, it can be challenging getting a piece of copy and understanding really fully how to express any sort of type of realistic emotion. But again, the realistic emotion, that is I think it's a poor way of describing the heightened life that we're looking for. And I like that term, acting is heightened life. It's not normal life. It's not us just, chatting. It's us being ourselves, but being heightened, being emotional, being in that moment. So it is acting. And when we are trying to, generate some sort of excitement from other people listening to us, whether it is emotions of sadness or happiness or awe or fear or, love or whatever we're trying to channel, we have to be able to see it to be able to express it. So I love this little tip and I use it a lot and it helps me and I want to share it with you. Imagination is our most powerful tool. When I work with a lot of voice actors, and what I notice is when they are reading copy, when they are trying to, relay a message, I think what happens a lot, and what I don't see happening, is that there is this issue with actually placing themselves in that moment or in that place or, in an imaginary setting where a set of events is happening and you're seeing yourself in that. And I don't see that very much. I don't see it often. And it's not hard to do. Actually, it's kind of easy because you can make it up. All right. Hey, Thomas, what's up, man? And I think that we just don't do it because either A, we have not thought about it. B, it's kind of easier to just go about, doing our thing. What's up, Chris? So B-Dog at 45, good to have you. So I think that for us to start to channel emotion and realistic, heightened performances, imagining ourselves in a setting, in a place where these events are happening, can help so much. I want to give you guys an example of a story. So on my voice or my particular demo, my very first demo slot is me doing a forward spot. When I went to write that, because I write and do all of my own demos, when I went to write that, I literally stood in my booth, I closed my eyes, and I thought of myself, I imagined myself out on a porch in this, out in maybe like West Texas, coming out onto my porch with a cup of coffee in my hand, looking down a long road seeing pastures off to the right, lined with fences and cows and horses and the setting. And I saw the trucks and, the feeling that I got from being, there and what it meant to wake up to that kind of environment. And I actually came up with that demo piece based on what I saw in my head. I wrote the words like I was watching a movie. Now, that's me improving, writing words. We don't have that luxury when it comes to us getting copy. But at the same time, it actually becomes easier because then we can take the copy and we can go about creating those pictures and images in our heads. Perfect example. When you, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but you're narrating for video and you actually get the video to see before you narrate. And if you've ever narrated before you got the video, then you got the video and you saw what you were narrating, like you saw the pictures and the images and the setting, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it. I understand what's going on. That makes sense why I'm saying this, or that doesn't make sense for me to say it that way. It's the same sort of thing. Now, we don't always have that luxury. In fact, we don't have that very much at all. So it's important for us to actually create that in our mind. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be, that's the wonderful thing. It doesn't have to be this magical, perfect setting that you're going to win some sort of nomination, some Oscar for, or, Academy Award for creating this, alternate world. But it has to be something that means something to you. And it can mean, like I said, for that setting, I was just a setting. And by the way, the really cool thing is that it doesn't have to be just your own creation. You can imagine other things that are happening. I love the idea. It was an old writing tip, as I read a lot of books, and I like books on writing, playwriting, writing stories. So I read a lot of books on how to write and so forth. And I remember this one tip that I got, and the tip was about when you go to write, imagine seeing a movie playing in your head. And as you're watching the movie, write down what you see as the movie clips. Okay? And, if you think about that, if you step back and actually, challenge yourself to do that, it's really quite impressive. Now, I can understand some challenges that arise with this. One, you might think, well, okay, this is kind of cool. This sounds cool, but nothing comes to my mind when I do this, or I see this thing. What am I supposed to do? This is where we as individuals have to fill in the blanks. So I've coached a lot of actors as well throughout my career. And the thing that happens is when you're given a character, or, you're given a script, there is a few directions, maybe a few ideas about the character, but it's up to us to fill in all of the blanks from our own experiences, from our own imagination. Not looking out somewhere else to get the answers, but coming up with them on our own, making them up, literally making them up. Make it up. Fill in the blanks. You have a couple of words to say. Fill in the blanks. Where would you say this? How would you say it? What's the situation? Can it be absolutely absurd? Yes, because it's happening in your mind. Why not? Okay. The second thing is as you're going through this and you're going through your copy, especially depending on how long it is, it can be challenging to continue that train of thought and the words. This is where us being recording artists, where we record and we can stop and start, really helps. Really, it helps because we do not have to do it all in one take. If you're doing a live recorded session, that's fine. Make sure you get the script previously and do some prep work. I've done that. I always request the script before, and if they don't give it to me, I hound them. All right? And that I've actually never had a situation where they haven't given me the script. Now, if that happens, then yes, I've got to go in there and I've got to picture it in my mind and do it right then and there. But 99% of the time, that never happens. All right? I'm always actually recording it on my own time in my own way, which means that I can do a section and stop, think about it, refocus my mind, do it again. And you can tell when you start to veer off. But it's so important to try this. Now, just like anything else, it's a mental exercise, which means you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to work and you're going to get better. It's going to be challenging. You're going to forget to do it. You're going to think, well, I don't need to do it on this one. I got this one. Get in the habit of placing yourself in an atmosphere where you can see it. Perfect example. Just recently, yesterday, I was working on a voiceover, and it was about this man who was going crazy, and he was worried about all these horrible things happening at his job, and he was going to get fired, et cetera, and it was just getting worse and worse, and he was going slowly mad and going crazy, right? I think for a short film or something, and I was doing this, and I had to literally, I had the video. So I saw the video, but even with the video, it wasn't enough because it was just showing the man in a chair, like loopy and doing all those things. It wasn't showing other things like the words I was actually saying. I had to picture the people laughing at me. I had to picture myself in that environment. I mean, if you're like, for example, if you're honestly asked to portray a person going mad, how can you do that honestly without sounding insincere? And then you're like, if you've never gone mad too, you're like, well, what? How do I even do that? For me, I had to picture the people and let the words come out. I love this. By the way, this is a really cool technique. Your focus is everything when you are reading. It's everything. So if you find yourself focusing on the words you are saying, you're not doing it right. What I mean by that is you should be focusing on what you are trying to say, the emotion, the feelings. Because if you've noticed, you focus on the words that you say, every single word, you're going to be trying to do something with it. I love this analogy. Whenever I had new actors and they always had this issue with where do I put my hands? What do I do with my hands when I'm on stage? I don't know how to hold my hands. Do they just sit to the side? Do I move them? And you see these actors walking around like this, right? They don't know what to do because they don't know what to do with their hands. And what does that tell you? That means their focus was on the wrong thing. They were focusing on their hands instead of focusing on the idea on what was actually happening in that scene or supposed to be happening. And when you focus on the right thing, everything else takes care of itself. It's the same for us. When you focus on the right thing, when you focus on the emotion, on the setting, on your imagination of the things actually happening. When I focused on people laughing at me, me getting fired, someone yelling at me, telling me I'm getting fired, and then a crowded room of people staring at me, laughing at me, it was very easy for me to say these lines because I was focusing on them, not the lines coming out of my mouth. And because of that, there's a sincerity to it because the focus is not on there. Think about it. When we talk normally, we're not focusing on how our words are sounding. We're focusing on the things that are actually happening to us, what we're actually seeing. So for us to recreate that, we have got to see it in our minds. And to do that, you've got to use your imagination. You got to fill in the blanks. You got to go for it. And it can be nuts, but go for it. And you will find that it will just blow your mind, the change in you. And the coolest thing too is we don't have to do this in front of everybody. We can do all this in the nice, box or hobo fort or closet or wherever we are. Okay, we don't have to worry about doing this in front of other people. So we can make fools of ourselves and not worry about it. But I can tell you this, and I promise you this. Just like you can hear in someone's voice when they're smiling, when they're angry, when they're happy, when they're fake, when they're sincere, when they're in love, when they're in hatred, we can hear that without even seeing it. Your audience can do the same, which means you have to express that emotion physically, mentally, in order for it to come out of your mouth for people to get it. All right. Got a little carried away there. I apologize. All right. So with that being said, I need to calm back down. Woo. All right. So if you guys have any questions or any thoughts about this particular thing, please let me know. And I would love to talk to you about it. Let's see who we got. We've got Ari. What's up, my man? Let's see. And I know we've got over at Instagram. Let's see, over at YouTube. B-Dog Boss. What's up, boss? We got Jim. Good to see you. Over on Facebook, we got Walter. We got John. Jim, you're everywhere. Jim, you're everywhere. You're on YouTube. You're on Facebook. I love it. So let's see some of the things we got here. Let's see. We've got visualization is a powerful tool. Years ago, I took a short drama course to help with my vocal projection. During it, we had a reading exercise. I imagined that I was reading it to my godchildren, and that really worked. That's right, John. Good question. Good thing. Jim, I may need to channel my 6-year-old granddaughter. Her imagination is top-notch. Sounds like I need to remove the seriousness that sneaks into my reads. Well, I mean, whenever there is a serious part, picture yourself in that serious emotion. I mean, by now, all of us have experienced these emotions. Whether you've experienced tragic emotions or not, or death, or birth, or, pain or excitement, the core of those emotions are all the same. The expression of that emotion is the same. The expression of anger is the same, whether it's angry over something small or something large. The intensity can be the same. Okay? So we can imagine that feeling. I'm not telling you to try to recreate how you felt, like to make yourself sick. I'm just saying you can imagine being in a place where that could happen to you. All right. Boss, I enjoy studying how other actors get into character. Jim Carrey, for instance, literally becomes his character all through production. So, right. I mean, so we're kind of getting into whether you are an improvisational type actor or whether you are a method style actor. And, I don't want to get into that, although I think that would be a good video for us to do. I do believe that both is a great way to go. And for us, it's a little different, right? Because it might take us 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do a read, and then we're done, and we move on to the next thing. But that's why it's even more important for us to be able to make that picture vivid and alive in our minds in order to put ourselves immediately in that position or that place. By the way, if you can't picture something, go on to Google and search for images, with the keywords that you feel like go with your copy. And then you can picture some of those, you can see those images on your screen, and then use some of those images. And add in stuff. Do what you've got to do, but creating a realistic vision in your mind is so important. All right. I enjoy studying how other actors get into character. What am I talking about? Walter says something with a link. Jim says, this is golden. Oh, I bet that's it. That's a GIF, right? Sorry, Walter. I can't see the GIF on my screen. That's why. Jim, this is golden, but it will take a lot of practice, and that's okay. Yeah, it takes practice, but it's actually not as hard as you might think. All right, let's see over here on Instagram. We got Thomas said there's no halfway. You can always tone down the acting. Absolutely. I always said it's so easy for me to bring you back or someone to bring you down. It's not. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill to get people to get more energy. Okay. Ari said you tap into your emotional experiences. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. DJ, what's up, man? Let's see over on Jim said never apologize for telling us what we need to know. Thanks. Boss, moving my hands helps me convey things I can't be or convey emotion and be physically static. That's a great point. Like as I'm here, I'm like, I'm moving around, right? And even though you're watching me and you can see me doing that with my hands and being emotional, it really, like if you took the visual aspect away, you could still hear it in my voice, the intensity of what I'm trying to do. And do you know why moving your hands helps? Do you know why that helps? The focus. Because you don't focus solely on the words that are coming out of your mouth. You're now focusing on your body and expressing emotion physically. So your voice, your body takes care of the inflections instead of you trying to control the inflection. So important. Such a good realization. And boss, absolutely great. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If you get a chance, please go ahead and follow me, like this. If you're on Twitter, retweet for me. Make sure you follow me. If you're on YouTube, like this, hit the notification bell, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, share it with some friends, hit the like button. If you're on Instagram, put the little clap hands button. I'm going to wave at you, DJ. There we go. Do what you can. Thank you guys so much. By the way, this is the last day of my sale on my courses for my Fiverr course and my ACX course. Right now, they're 50% off. So if you want to head over there and grab it, that'd be awesome. And other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. This was a good one today. All right, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. Peace.